Maybe you don't miss him. I know, that sounds strange, right? Because I know how it feels. You wake up in the morning and your mind goes looking for him. You see something funny and you thought to yourself, oh, he will laugh at this. You hear a song and suddenly you remember a conversation. You pass somewhere you both stood together and suddenly your heart paused for a while and you thought to yourself, oh, I miss him. But what if you don't? What if you miss the way you felt when he was around? What if you miss the anticipation, the butterflies, the way your phone lighting up would change your entire mood? The way you read a simple message 3 times looking for meaning in between words. Maybe you miss the possibility of him. The possibility that someday he will look at you differently. The possibility that the conversations will become something more and the dates into memories and the memories would somehow become a life. Maybe that's what you're grieving, not a relationship. You are mourning a relationship that never got the chance to exist. And that is a strange kind of heartbreak. Because how do you explain that you're mourning something you never really had? There was no breakup, no anniversary to remember, no shared apartment to pack up, no picture to delete, just 1,000 wishes and what ifs. What if he had chosen me? What if he felt what I felt? What if the timing was different? What if I had waited? And the what ifs continue. Because sometimes the hardest person to let go isn't the person, it is the future you imagined with. I remember thinking, maybe if I had stayed close, maybe if I was patient enough, maybe if I had prayed enough, maybe some. And sometimes God allows you to meet someone who awakens something in you without intending them to stay. Someone who reminds you that your heart can still feel again. Someone who makes you smile again. Someone who makes you look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh, so this part of me is still alive. And maybe that's the gift. Maybe they weren't meant to be your destination. Maybe they were only meant to remind you that your heart is still alive. Because after everything you've been through, you had convinced yourself that you were done. Done with butterflies, you were done with hoping, and done with the possibility of being chosen. And then came along this person. Suddenly, you're smiling at your phone again. You're dressing a little different. And you start paying attention to your hair. And you're listening to the love songs that you sworn you'd never listen to anymore. And perhaps you thought this must mean something. Maybe it did, but not the way you thought it would. Maybe the meaning wasn't this is your person. And maybe the meaning was look, your heart still works. Maybe you don't miss him. Maybe you miss the woman you became when you thought he might love you. The woman who was hopeful, soft, playful, excited, and kind. And the real tragedy would be losing that woman. So don't lose her. Keep the softness, keep the laughter, keep the hope. Keep the part of you that believes that love can still find you. Stop attaching all those beautiful things to one person because he was never the source of your ability to feel. He was only the reminder. And one day, someone will come along, someone who won't leave you wondering. You won't have to decode his messages. You won't have to study his silence. You won't have to convince yourself that you are imagining the connection. You won't have to convince yourself that crumbs are a feast. And you won't have to ask yourself, does it feel the same way? Because love that is meant to stay will not require you to live permanently in confusion. So maybe you don't miss him. Maybe you miss the possibilities, you miss the butterflies, you miss the future you imagined, you miss the woman you were becoming. And maybe that's okay Because sometimes healing isn't about forgetting someone. Healing is realizing that what you thought you lost in them is something you found in yourself. Maybe you didn't lose him, maybe you found you. Maybe you never really missed him, or maybe you were simply trying to find your way back to yourself. If this poem spoke to a part of you that you've been trying to understand, don't scroll away. Take a moment to ask yourself, do I really miss them? Or do I miss the person I became when I believed in us? And if this resonates with you, kindly like, subscribe, comment, and share for more videos.